Hi, assalamu alaikum and bonjour everyone. Bienvenue au cours de français pour la semaine 8. Welcome to our French class of week 8. Okay. So for today, this is our plan. We'll start with rappel, just like usual. Rappel. And what we're going to recall is les articles, the articles, and also verb er, okay, verb er, how to conjugate the verbs that ends with er. And then next we're going to continue with l'heure. L'heure means time, okay, so we're going to know about les moments de la journée, moments of the day, and also how to indicate time, dire l'heure, in formal and also in formal way. Okay, and the last one is preposition. Okay, preposition avec l'heure. There are prepositions that can be used with time, so we're going to learn about this preposition. So let's start with rappel. Okay, so the first one is les articles. Les articles, the articles. So can you remember about les articles? There are two types of articles, which is indefinite article and also definite article. Or in French, we call it les articles indéfinis and also les articles définis. Okay, remember for indéfini, okay, normally we use the article, the indefinite article, when we want to introduce an object or a human, people, or a place for the first time. Okay, so we use a indefinite article. Okay, and then for definite article, it is when we want to precise, we want to specify an object or people that we want, that we mentioned before. Okay, we can look at the example after this. Okay, but for now, how to use indefinite and definite articles? Okay, so for French, we have gender and also number. Okay, so for nouns, okay, for nouns that is masculine and also singular, masculin et singulier, we use un for indefinite and we use le for definite article. Okay, so we need to know the gender of the noun first. Okay, for example, j'achète un livre. Le livre est sur la table. J'achète, I buy, un livre, a book. Okay, so this is the first time we want to introduce an object. I buy I buy a book, or I am buying a book. Okay, and then we want to specify, we want to give the detail about the book. So we say, le livre est sur la table. The book is on the table. Le livre est sur la table. Okay, so livre est masculin. Okay, book is masculine and it is just one book. So we use un and also le. Alright. Okay, next is for feminine and singular nouns. Okay, for indefinite we use une, and for definite we use la. Okay, let's look at the example. Mika prend une photo. La photo est belle. Mika take a photo. The photo is beautiful. Okay, so the noun here is photo. Okay, the noun here is photo. And the photo is feminine and it is just one photo. So for one photo is une and la. Okay, the first time we want to introduce the photo, we use une, and then the second one we want to specify. We want to say that the photo is beautiful, so we change une to la. Okay, une photo, a photo. La photo means the photo. Okay, and then next is devant une voyelle. Devant une voyelle means that in front of a vowel. Okay, so when a noun that starts with A, E, I, O, U, H, and Y, okay, not really Y, okay, A, E, I, O, U, and H, okay, doesn't matter it is masculine or feminine, as long as it is singular and it starts with a vowel. For indefinite, we don't need to change anything. We need to use either un or une. But for definite article, we need to change from le or la to l apostrophe. Okay, right. So indefinite, if it is masculine, even though it starts with vowel, for example, you still need to use un. If feminine noun starts with vowel, you need to use in. Okay, but for definite article, if it's masculine or feminine, you use L apostrophe. For example, nous sommes étudiants à l'Université Malaysia Kelantan. Nous sommes, we are étudiants, students, à l'université, at the University of Malaysia Kelantan. Okay, so here the noun is university and it starts with U. It starts with U. Okay, so we need to use L apostrophe. You cannot say le university or la university, no. Okay, L apostrophe only. And then the last one is for plural, pluriel. Okay, for indefinite article, we use they. They means some. Okay, and then for definite article, we use les. Okay, les. For example, j'ai des étudiants. I have some students. Les étudiants sont intelligents. The students are intelligent. Okay, so this is the first time I mentioned about my student. So we use they. I have some students. Okay, and then I want to specify that my students are intelligent. So I use les étudiants. The students are intelligent. Alright, so you can refer to this table maybe for your exercise or your revision. Okay, so this one is les articles, the articles. Okay, so for the second rappel is conjugaison du verbe er. Okay, so remember that in French we have three types of verbs. Okay, three types of verbs. The first one is the verbs that ends with er. Okay, the second one is re, and the third one is ir. Okay, but the most common verb is the one that ends with er. Okay, so the previous week we learned how to conjugate the er verbs. How to conjugate the er verbs. Okay, can you remember what is conjugaison? So conjugaison is actually the changes that we make to the verbs. Okay, to the verbs depending on the pronouns that we use. Okay, depending on the nouns that we use. For example, we have pronoun je, I, tu, you, il, elle, he, she, nous, we, vous, you or you guys, you all. Il, elle means they, okay, but they for masculine and they for feminine, right? So for these pronouns, even though the verb is, for example, aimer, to like, we cannot say je aimais, tu aimais, il aimait. No, it cannot be done like that because it is incorrect. Okay, but so you need to conjugate. When you need to conjugate, we have to use the ER rules. Okay, ER rules. But before we go to the ER rules, let's look at the conjugaison first. Okay, when we want to say I like, we just say j'aime. I like, okay, or love. You can say I like or love. J'aime. Tu aimes. Tu aimes. You like. Il aime. He likes. Nous aimons. We like. Vous aimez. You like. Ils aiment or elles aiment. Okay, they like. You hear that here, nous, vous, ils, nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment. You hear a little z, right? Nous aimons. This is because from S, okay, the S is usually silent, but when the silent S meets another word that starts with A-E-I-O-U, you need to make a liaison. Okay, you make a link in with from S and A. Okay, so the S will give the sound of Z. Nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment. Okay, so you can see that there is AIM, AIM, AIM in all of this conjugation, right? But the difference are only the endings. Okay, but that one we're going to look at it after this. Okay, next is adorer. Adorer. Okay, to love or to like. Adorer. Okay, so for je, we put j'adore. J'adore. Okay, I know that you have maybe you've listened to j'adore. You've heard of j'adore before. It is the Dior perfume, I think. Okay, so j'adore means I love. Okay, I love, or I adore. Okay, but you look here. The pronoun is je, but when we want to conjugate aimer, adorer, we need to put J apostrophe only. J'aime, j'adore. Okay, because the verb starts with A-E-I-O-U. Here is A, so it cannot be je adore, cannot. It will be j'adore only. Okay, I love. Tu adores. Il adore. Elle adore. Okay, he adores, she adores. Nous adorons. We adore. Vous adorez. You adore or you love. Ils adorent. Elles adorent means they adore. Okay, so just like usual, you can see ADO, 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 but the only ADOR, okay, but the only differences are the endings, right? And we go to the next one, détester. Détester means to hate. Okay, this one you like, you love, and then you say to hate. Okay, for détester, you can see here that je déteste. Okay, this one, for this verb, it starts with D, with consonant. So you don't need to change from je to J apostrophe. Just use this je. Okay, je déteste, I hate. Tu détestes, you hate. Il déteste, he hates. Nous détestons, we hate. Vous détestez, you hate. Il déteste or elle déteste means they hate. Okay, just like usual, D-E-T-S-T, 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 okay, but the differences are the endings. So can you find the similarities with these three conjugations? The endings, for example. Okay, so the endings are uniform or are similar. Okay, for je, it always ends with e, right? For tu, it always ends with es. Okay, so same goes with the other pronouns. Okay, so from these words we take out the endings and then we put here. Okay, so these are the terminaisons or the endings of the verb er. Okay, for je, it is always e, tu always es, il or elle always e. Okay, so for je and il, elle, the spelling will be always the same. Okay, ee, and then for nous always ends with o and s, vous always ends with ez, and for il, elle always ends with e and t. Okay, remember the rules. For example, aimer, adorer, détester. The first one is you take out the er. Okay, take out the er, you delete. So you have the main verb aim, ador, dest. Okay, and then after we delete the er, we just put aim with terminaison. So aim with e, ador with e, dest with e, and same goes to other verbs. Okay, so this is the conjugaison du verbe er. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, so we reached the topic for this week, which is l'heure. Okay, for l'heure, it is time. Okay, some of you might have learned a little bit about time, but some of you maybe this is the first time. So let's discover how to indicate time in French. Okay, the first one is you need to know les moments de la journée, the moments of the day. Okay, right. So the first one is le matin. Le matin means morning. Okay, morning. Midi. Midi means noon. Noon. At 12 o'clock. Okay, 12 o'clock, it is noon. And then l'après-midi. L'après-midi is afternoon. Afternoon. So in French, afternoon usually at 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the evening. Okay. And then le soir. Le soir means evening in French. Okay, so in French, le soir is normally from 5 or 6 p.m. to night actually, to 7, 8, 9, 10 in the evening. Okay, and then we go to minuit. Minuit is midnight. Okay, at 12 o'clock at midnight. Okay, so these are the moments of the day. Okay, next. Okay, so we go to how to indicate time. Okay, the first one, before we want to indicate time, normally someone will ask, what time is it? What time is it? So the question is, quelle heure est-il? Quelle heure est-il? Quelle means what or which. Okay, heure means time. Est-il, is it? Okay, what time is it? Okay. Okay, so this is the simplest way to indicate time. Okay, the simplest way, which is you answer with il est. Il est. Il est means it is. So for example here, you can just say il est, and then you put the number 9, 9, and then you just put heure. Heure here is time, but heure here is o'clock. has three, actually, has three meanings. The first one is time, the second one is o'clock, and the third one is hour. Okay, so can be time, o'clock, or hour. So here is il est 9 heures, means it is 9 o'clock. It is 9 o'clock. Okay, il est 9 heures. Even though here is F, okay, because the next word starts with H, okay, you need to make a liaison with F and H, okay. So F will give the sound V. 9 heures, 9 heures. Il est 9 heures, it is 9 o'clock. Okay, and then here is 2 o'clock, so you will say il est 2 heures. It is 2 o'clock. Okay, it is 2 o'clock. And then we have il est 11 heures. It is 11 o'clock. Okay, il est 4 heures. Il est 4 heures. It is 4 o'clock. And then, but for 12 o'clock, we can say il est midi. It is noon. It is very rare that the French say it is 12 o'clock. They will say it is noon or it is midnight. So for noon, il est midi or il est minuit. Il est midi for noon, il est minuit for it is midnight. This one is 12 o'clock. Okay? But attention, to indicate 1 o'clock in French, it is une heure. Une heure without an S, okay, because heure is a feminine noun, okay. Oh, sorry, this one is not about S. We say une heure, you know that when we count, we say 1, 2, 3, right? But for the for clock, for the time, we say une instead of un, okay, because heure is a feminine noun. So il est 1 heure, this is incorrect. You need to say il est 1 heure. Il est 1 heure. It is 1 o'clock. Okay? Alright. So this is the simplest way. You just put il est and then number and then you put heure. Alright? Okay. So normally in English we use military times like AM and PM to indicate times during morning, noon, or evening, right? However, French people use the 24-hour system to express official times, which means this is the more formal way. We use 24-hour system. Okay. Okay. For example, to say 1 p.m. instead of we say il est 1 heure, we say il est 13 heures. So automatically we know that 13 heures. 13 o'clock, for example, it is 13 o'clock. We already know that it is 1 p.m. Okay, 1 p.m. And then, for example, 2 p.m. Instead of saying il est 2 heures, we say il est 14 heures. Il est 14 heures. It is 14 o'clock. So automatically we know that it is 2 p.m. Right? Okay, so these are the examples of the 24-hour system. For 2 o'clock, you just say 14. For 4 o'clock, you say 16. Okay, you know you add 1 to 12 here. Okay, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So if it's 9 o'clock, you need to say 21 o'clock. 22, 23. And then for 12, you don't have to say 24. We can say minuit, right? You remember the previous slide? Okay. So for 12, it is minuit. So il est 14 heures. It is 14 o'clock, means it is 2 p.m. Il est 16 heures. It is 16 o'clock, means it is 4 p.m. And then, for example, you have minutes. Okay, you have minutes. For example, here is 3:35 p.m. Okay, you just have to change the hour. So 3 p.m. is 15. Okay, 15 hour in French. And then this is how you write time in French. In English, you put 3 point, right? 3.35. But in French, you say 1.5 H. H means hour, okay? And then 35 is minutes, but you don't have to put M, okay? You don't have to put M in the end of the word, okay? So here, il est 15h35. It is 15 o'clock, 35. You don't have to put minutes, okay? And then 6:15 p.m. it will be 18 hours and 15 minutes. So il est 18h. It is 18 hour or 18 o'clock. 15. Okay. So this is the formal way when we have minutes. Okay. You just indicate the minutes like this. 35 means 35, 35. 15, you just say 15. Okay. All right. But you also have how to indicate time in daily life or informal way. Okay. So in informal way, this is the example. Okay. For example, we take an example of 1 o'clock. Okay, 1 o'clock. So, if the minute needle is on the number 12, you say 1 heure. Okay, 1 hour at 1 o'clock, right? 1 hour, 1 o'clock. But then, when the minute needle is here, it is normally 1 o'clock. 5 minutes, right? That one is formal. Okay. The same goes to informal way. 1h05, 1 o'clock 5. And then here, 1h10, 1 o'clock 10. 1h15, 1 o'clock and quarter. Okay. So here is the difference. Okay. Here you can see the difference. The formal way, you just have to replace the number 3 to 15 minutes, right? 5, 10, and 15 minutes. So it could be 1h15, 1 o'clock, 15 minutes. But in informal way, you say 1h15, 1 o'clock and quarter. Okay? 1h20, 1 o'clock and 20 minutes. 1h25, okay, 1 o'clock 25. But when we go here, okay, number 6, you don't say 1h30, 1 o'clock and 30. But instead, you say 1h30, 1 o'clock and half. 1 o'clock and a half. Okay. And then when you go to 7, this one when it gets a little bit complicated, because for here 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, you need to say it is 2 o'clock, okay, because this one is 1 o'clock, right? 1 o'clock 5, 1 o'clock 3, 1 o'clock 10, and so on. But here you need to take 2 o'clock moins. Moins means minus 25. Okay, it is 2 o'clock minus 25 minutes, right? 2 o'clock minus 25 minutes, it means that it is 1:35. Okay, but in daily life they usually say moins 25, 2h moins 25. It is 2 o'clock minus 25. And then for number 8, 2h moins 20, 2 o'clock minus 20, 2h moins le quart, 2 o'clock minus le quart means quarter. So quarter means 15 minutes. So 2 o'clock minus quarter. 2h moins 10. Okay, 2h moins 10. 2 o'clock minus 10 minutes. Okay. 2h moins 5. Okay. 2h moins 5 means 2 o'clock minus 5. Okay. All right. So that one is the informal way to indicate time. Okay, so for this slide, these are the vocabularies that we can use to indicate time in informal way. Okay, so there are two ways. First is by indicating the moment of the day. For example, you can use these words. Du matin, it means in the morning. À midi, at noon. De l'après-midi, in the afternoon. Du soir means in the evening or at night. And à minuit, at midnight. So with these words, you can just use 12-hour system. For example, you want to say 2 p.m. You can say il est 2h de l'après-midi. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, in French we use après-midi for the hours after 12 o'clock. Okay. And then the second way is by replacing the minutes with these words. For example, et demi. Et demi, it has two ways of spelling. Et demi with E and also et demi without E. It means half past, or actually demi means 13 minutes. Okay, so instead of you say 2:30 p.m., you say 2:30. Okay, and then écart. Écart means and quarter or quarter past means 15 minutes. Okay, so for 15 minutes you can replace the 15 by using quarter, or you can also use this word which is moins. Moins means minus, just like the previous slide. You can use minus. So moins le quart means quarter to, or the direct translation is minus 15 minutes. And then we have also moins 5, 10, etc. Okay, moins means minus. You can just minus any minutes, okay, to indicate time that that are near to the next hour. For example, 7:50 p.m. Okay, 7:50 p.m. Instead of saying 7:50, you say il est 8h moins 10, means it is 8 o'clock minus 10, or in English it is 10 to 8. Okay, it is 10 minutes to 8. Okay, so this is the formula. 8 o'clock minus 10 minutes, it means 7:50 p.m. So this is the informal way. And actually you can also use the formal way in your daily life, actually, because the French people wants to use the more simpler way. So I think instead of using the informal way, they use the formal way, because the formal way is actually more simple. And then attention, the spelling for half past, okay, half past or demi, okay, can change, depends on the time preferences. For example, demi without an E, it is only for 12 o'clock or 0 o'clock. It means that midi and demi. Okay, midi et demi means noon, okay, noon and 30 minutes, okay, half past noon. And minuit et demi means half past midnight, okay, half past midnight. So this one is demi. For this one, if you don't want to be confused, you can remember Demi like Demi Lovato, and she can only sing at 12 o'clock, for example. So you use this spelling, Demi without an E, for 12 o'clock only. But for the other Demi, Demi with an E, it is for other times. For example, 1 o'clock and 30. 1h30. You have to put E. Okay, this is because une heure here is a feminine noun. So demi with an E is also feminine. It needs to agree with the heure. Okay, and another example is 4 o'clock and 30. We can say 4h30, 4 o'clock and a half, right? Okay, these are also the examples of how to indicate time in daily life. Okay, for example, in the morning, matin, you can say il est 7h du matin. It is 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning. And for the oral short form, instead of saying fully matin, you can say du mat. Il est 7h du mat. It is 7 o'clock in the morning. Or for example, 7:15, we can use il est 7h15. It is 7 o'clock and quarter. 7 o'clock and quarter. Instead of saying 7:15. 15, if you say 7:15, it is more formal. And then for midi, for example, for 12 p.m., we say il est midi. Il est midi. It is noon. For 12:30 p.m., il est midi et demi. Remember, here for 12 o'clock, we don't put E here. And then for après-midi, afternoon, for example, at 4 p.m., 4:35, 6:45, you can say il est 4 heures de l'après-midi. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, 4 is considered afternoon in French. And then 4:35 p.m., you can say il est 5 heures moins 25. It is 5 o'clock minus 25 minutes. So this is the formula. Okay, and then 6:45 p.m., il est 7 heures moins le quart. Okay, il est 7 heures moins le quart. It is 7 o'clock minus quarter. Okay, or minus 15 minutes. Quarter means 15 minutes. And then you go to soir, the evening or night. For example, 8 p.m. Okay, instead of using 24-hour system, if you want to say more formally, you say it is 20 p.m. No, sorry, 20 o'clock. Okay, but if it's in your daily life or in informal way, you can use il est 8 heures du soir. It is 8 o'clock in the evening. Okay, and the last one is minuit. Minuit means midnight. Midnight. Okay, so it is 12 a.m. You can also use il est minuit. Il est minuit. This one, it is the same as the formal way. Okay, even for formal, you use minuit and midi. Okay, il est minuit, it is midnight. Okay, so this one is to indicate a period of time. Okay, for the previous one, you indicate the time, but this one is the period of time. For example, if I ask you, how many minutes should you finish your exams? Maybe you can say 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and all. You can use these words, okay, or these expressions. The one on the left is informal, and the one on the right is more formal. For example, to take 15 minutes, you can say un quart d'heure. Un quart d'heure means 1/4 hour actually. Okay, 1/4 hour. But for formal, we can just say 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, and then for 30 minutes, formal, you say 30 minutes, 30 minutes. But you can also say une demi-heure. Une demi-heure to say half hour. Okay, half hour. And then 45 minutes. Normally we say 45 minutes, 45 minutes. But then you can also say 3/4 d'heure, 3/4 hour, 3/4 hour. Okay, for 45 minutes. And then 60 minutes or 1 hour, you can say 60 minutes, 60 minutes, and 1 heure, 1 hour. Okay, but and for the informal way, you can just use 1 heure also. Okay, 1 heure. And then the same goes on with 1 hour 15 minutes. Just add 1 heure, 1 hour, écart, 1 hour and a quarter. Okay, or in the formal way, 75 minutes, 65. Okay, sorry, it's not 65 but 75. This one is 60, counts is 15, right? So if you remember 60 plus 15, it means 75. So this is 75 minutes. And you can also say 1 heure et demie, 1 heure et demie, 1 hour and a half. Okay, 1 hour 30 minutes, you can say 90, 80 means 80, and then this means 10, so 90 minutes, right? And this is some extra expressions for you. You can say it is early. You can say il est tôt, il est tôt. Tôt means early. It is late, it is late. You can say il est tard. Tôt, early, tard is late. Okay, so let's finish our lesson with the last part of our class, which is les prépositions utilisées avec l'heure. It means the prepositions that we use with time. Okay, there are a lot of prepositions, but this one is only the prepositions that we use with time. Okay. The first one is when you want to tell the time, just indicate the time, just like we learned in the previous slide. You don't have to put any preposition. So you can just say il est 8 heures, for example. It is 8 o'clock. It is 8 o'clock. Okay. But when you want to give the time of a specific event, you say à. Okay. Ils ont rendez-vous à 14h30. They have an appointment or meeting at 2 p.m. At 2:30 p.m. Okay, so a means at. So this is the time of a specific event. I have class at 2 p.m. I have class or I have an appointment at 3 p.m. So you use a. A means at. And then the third one is dans. Dans. Dans means in. Okay, so the function is to state the length of a time before a future event. For example, j'ai cours de français dans 3 heures. I have French class in 3 hours. Okay, so in 3 hours I have French class. So it is the length of time before a future event. Okay, dans means in 3 hours. And then next one is de a. De a is to state the period of time of an activity. For example, le magasin est ouvert de 10h à 19h. Le magasin, the store, okay, the shop, est ouvert, is open, de 10h from 10 o'clock à 19h to 19 o'clock or 7 p.m. Okay, so this is the period of time where the the shop is open. Right? So de a simply means from to. The shop is open from 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Okay, next is vers. Vers is to give an approximate moment. For example, je viens vers midi. I come around midi means noon. I come or I will come around noon. Okay, so this one is to give an approximate moment. This one is it's not confirmed that you will come at 12 o'clock, but it's around that. Okay, and then the last one is jusqu'à. Jusqu'à, okay, jusqu'à is to give a limit of time. Limit of time. It is almost the same as de a, but for de a you have from to, but jusqu'à is until. Okay, for example, la poste est ouverte jusqu'à 18 heures. The post, okay, the post office is open until 6 p.m. or 18 o'clock. Right? So jusqu'à is similar to de a. Okay? So these are the prepositions that you can use with time. I think that's all for today. Merci beaucoup. Avez-vous des questions? Do you have any questions? Okay, if you have any question, you can just ask in our WhatsApp group. And that's all for today. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.